All right, as promised today, Maurice Blackburn Lawyers, who have been our principal partner throughout the show last couple of years. We've been wanting to get this man on the show for a time now. His name's Jason Brown. He's a general manager at Maurice Blackburn in charge of superannuation insurance, which is something that we have spoken about a lot on the program in the last 12 months. And Jeff and I thought we should get some expertise here. Rather than us trying to tell you the story, we'll get Maurice Blackburn to tell it with us. Hello, Jason.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. As you say, we've been trying to get it going for a little bit, but it's really nice to, have the time to talk.
Yeah, so I'm sat here at Perth Stadium. So you've got me as I've walked into the Ashes cauldron for the first time this series. The first thing I have done is queued up a chat with you, which is perfect. So,
It's flattering.
and look at indeed. So, like, I guess the first thing I wanted to say, what we've learnt through all of this in 2025 is that most Australians have superannuation insurance, but like they don't know it exists. So I think if you could start there, maybe framing up what super insurance actually is.
Yeah. So I've been at Maurice Blackburn for 16 or 17 years, always in this kind of area. And the reason that I've been at MB so long doing this work is because of how ubiquitous the entitlement is. If you've worked in Australia, you've probably got super. There's a slightly complicated story as to when you become entitled to super and that sort of thing, but the basic premise would be that if you've worked for an Australian company, you should have super. If you've got super, your super fund probably has insurance set up for you, particularly if you're in an industry fund, a fund that has a union component to its board and its setup, which again is a great majority of them. Most people, though, don't really meaningfully engage with their super fund when they start work. It's a retirement fund. You're 18 years old or something, getting your first job, and you're not really thinking about your retirement at that stage. So you sign up to whatever the default super fund is for that employer, and you kind of just put your head down and work, and you don't pay much attention. And that means a lot of people don't know what entitlements their super fund have set up for them in terms of this insurance. And even when they later get sick or injured and might have a reason to actually make a claim against it, because they don't know about it, the claim goes unactioned, right? Like they don't make that claim. And what I've loved in my time at Maurice Blackburn is the ability to talk to someone who's been off work for 5 years, 10 years, didn't have any meaningful recourse. They didn't really know what they could do to make their financial situation easier, to make their life easier. And they see an ad or they talk to someone who says, give Maurice Blackburn a call. And they call us, and we're able to open up this massive window of opportunity for them that they didn't know was there. They get the benefit of all our expertise and the benefit of our kind of relationship with them to help them guide them through it and make it an easy experience. And at the end of it, into that journey, they walk away with a life-changing sum of money that they can use to mitigate their situation. They can pay off the house. They can change the texture of what it's like to live with an injury or an illness that stops you from working.
Yeah, and I guess that's consistent of most insurance, isn't it? That when you sign up to the policy or when you start thinking about the policy, I've just gone through a life insurance process with my wife, and even just talking about these topics, it's deeply uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And the same applies to your well-being, to your place of work, to the idea of being incapacitated and not being able to work due to injury or illness isn't something you want to think about. So it sort of stands to reason why most people would be sort of, I guess, broadly unaware that it's something that they have an entitlement to.
We just bounce off it. You don't want to think about the bad things that can happen in the future. And so you don't think about it that much. And then when time comes, you're preoccupied with the actual process of trying to live with the illness or injury that you're confronted with. The other part that, and this is again, one of the things I love about it, is that you can help anyone. Like you don't have to have been hurt or gotten sick in a certain way. Like a work cover claim or a motor vehicle accident claim requires that you satisfy that causation condition. Like you have to have gotten hurt at work, or you have to have gotten hurt in a motor vehicle accident for you to be able to make a claim. And those are really important entitlements for people who are in that situation. But super doesn't have that causation component. You just need to be sick or injured in such a way that it affects your work. And that means you can be someone who was hurt at work and is making a work cover claim, and you can do a super claim. It means you can be injured in a car accident, you can be making a motor vehicle accident claim and do your super claim. Or it means, and this is the most important category in my mind, it means you can be hurt or injured or sick in such a way that isn't connected to any of those things and still make your super claim. So it's this really powerful safety net for people who are otherwise left without any recourse. And that broadness, that ability to help all comers, is kind of the thing that I love about it, and it's what's led me to make my career in this space.
What are the sort of situations that you commonly find where someone, or where do you think someone should be sort of thinking about whether they have a valid claim, where they don't realise it? Like, give us some scenarios where you can see this being a thing where, you know, they're unaware of what their entitlement is.
Yeah, it's usually so slippery because it's so straightforward, right? If you're sick or injured and it's affecting your work, particularly if it's stopping you from working, you've probably got a claim to look into. And it's because it's so simple, a lot of people miss it. You know, it's easier to think about work cover because we all think, oh, I was hurt at work, so obviously someone's liable and there's obviously a claim to be made. But with this, it doesn't require that sort of flashy, initiating event. And so it's just about, has your work been affected? Is it medical? And if both those things are true, then there's a conversation to be had, and we can find you insurance cover and work out what it is. And then we can talk to you about what we think the likelihood of making a claim looks like.
And the reason why a legal practice like Maurice Blackburn is so integral to this story is because there'd be instances where people, well, we've learnt them. You've provided scenarios to us where they've tried to engage their super insurance and they've found insurance companies have been, if not hostile to their claim, at least tried to put hurdles in front of them, which at the time of being injured or with illness that we've described here might be thoroughly daunting.
Yeah, and that's it. There's multiple layers to it. The first is that having to go through a heavily, let's say, at least bureaucratic, if not worse, process when you're sick or injured, and managing that and looking after your family and trying to get things just make ends meet is the last thing you want to do. So that's the first layer of it. Having an advocate, somebody who's in your corner, somebody who's going in and doing the work for you is really important, just for your own peace of mind and sanity. There's also the fact that it is a complex legal area. Like, there's a lot of so the policy document that you're claiming against is the main thing that you have to work through, right? You have to satisfy the definitions in the policy and show that you're so sick and injured that the policy should be triggered. But you can't, one, policies are very difficult to read if you're not in the space, you're not used to the subject area. But you also have to read it in the context of all the law that's been made around it. And the insurer and the insurance company know all that. They know it deeply. They're not that incentivized to tell you how to win the claim, And so you have to come to an expert who can not just look at the policy wording and give you the best interpretation there, but can tell you whether that policy wording should be read through the lens of a particular other judicial decision that's already out there, and give you the best chance of actually making the right arguments that worry the insurer enough that they have to come to the table and pay your claim.
You must see people come up with people who come to you who have been entitled to claiming for like months or even years. I mean, that must be it must be administratively a bit of a nightmare to get the ball rolling, but also quite satisfying when you can work with someone who's had an entitlement that hasn't been acted upon and go, right, well, now we press go on this and we work through it and we can have access to hopefully, ideally, in that scenario, a life-changing sum of money.
Well, so one of my favorites, so this is one that I worked on myself. He was a gentleman who'd had a brain injury in the late 80s. I forget the exact date off the top of my head, but it was late 80s. He'd been injured sort of in the course of his life. And that was sort of all that was known about him. His brain injury was such that he couldn't really give us a lot of history. He told us he used to work on the railways, and he was a Victorian, and back then in Victoria, the railways were public utility.
Mm-hmm.
As before privatisation. I knew the super fund that used to look after those public sector employees. I was able to call them. I got his authority. We had the right to talk to them on his behalf. They went down to the basement and got the microfiche out and found his old statements from the late 80s. And we were able to, confirm that he had an entitlement. We were able to go back and make that claim. Really hard claim because we had to go and get lots of historical medical information and interpret it and try and piece together a story as to the fact that he was disabled while he was sort of working. Once we satisfied it, though, he got a pension for life So he was paid a pension of, I think it was around 80 grand per annum forever, plus back payment for that entire 25-year period between when he was injured and when we made the claim for him, which was 1.8 million roughly, I think, off the top of my head. And so for him, that was monumentally life-changing. The pension by itself would have been enough, but factoring in the back payment as well. And he was able to then live out a series of lifelong dreams. He jumped on the GAN, went on the train, sent me a postcard from every station along the way, kind of thing. It was really lovely. And that's the kind of stuff that we see quite regularly. Not always as spectacular in terms of the outcome, but always that same character of someone who was left bereft and without hope, who suddenly discovers this entitlement that they could have, perhaps should have, been entitled to claim many years earlier, and we go back and right that wrong.
I love the idea of going through the old microfiche. I don't think I've done that since university.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit after. I worked for a politician once who had a recollection of a newspaper article in, I reckon it was 1970. Remembered seeing something in 1970, and I went back and was able to source the article via the microfiche, which was quite rewarding, albeit not as rewarding as what you're describing there. But it's a reminder of that archive that does exist of everything in everything's on the record.
And that's it. And we were lucky that particular fund, we were lucky that they were one that kept really robust records, and were happy to, let us access them that way. But it was a great result. And there's 1,000 other stories like that I could tell, that have different particulars, but the same flavour of being able to go back and wind the clock back and help someone.
Sort of mindful that there might be people listening who might be listening to this interview and thinking they might have a claim themselves, or they might have a friend or a relative or a co-worker who's had to cease their employment due to injury or illness and might be in a situation like this. I mean, what do you do if you have got a hunch, or if you've got an inkling that there might be something or might be someone who should be engaging here as far as getting Maurice Blackburn involved? What's the next step?
Yeah, I mean, the best place to start is to call us. We do we work no win, no fee. Anytime there is an actual claim to be made in the superannuation practice, it's always no win, no fee, which means you don't pay a cent unless you win the claim. But even before that, we do a free investigation. So there's a no strings attached, no obligation investigation phase. We'll go and look at all of your different super funds. We'll talk to them all. We'll work out what your entitlements might be, and we'll tell you the summary, or we'll give you the summary of what we think can be done. Mm-hmm. And then it's up to the person whether they want to go ahead with the claim or not, of course.
I think that's really important as well, just to reiterate that point. No win, no fee means that, bit of a free hit, really, isn't it? In terms of exploring what your options are and learning. Maurice Blackburn, people would be familiar, not just through us, but from the work you've done in the public domain over many years, high-profile cases like the Qantas case recently, where Maurice Blackburn are in the news. You might think, I couldn't possibly go to them because they're a big firm. They might be expensive. But this area of the practice, like it is with much of the work that Maurice Blackburn do, is on that no-win, no-fee basis.
Yeah, it's all about access to justice. We fund the case, so to speak. Like, that's effectively what no win, no fee means, is we're funding the case while it's running. And we do that because we want to make sure people who are out of work, can afford accessing that kind of legal service. And that can be the real bind you can find yourself in. You don't have an income because you're not working. It's hard to justify affording a service to help you with it, unless, of course, that service understands the situation and is able to work with you on that basis. So that's how we roll. It's a lot like, the thing that I see a lot is that the insurance company, of course, they will employ their legal team to help with the oversight of the claim. Like they've got Brett Lee in their corner, right? Like he's steaming in to come in and bowl.
They could have Bruce Lee as well. Either would work.
Who knows if he's not solving crimes in Hong Kong or whatever. That was the story of Bruce Lee, wasn't it? The theory was that he wasn't dead, but he was undercover. But yeah, so they've got Brett Lee steaming in. You can go in and bat for yourself, or you can send Steve Smith. Steve, or insert your Steve of preference, right?
I like that. We should. I'm going to pinch that line for future integrations in the program, Jason. That Maurice Blackburn are the pick your Steve Smith or War to go in and face the equivalent of Brett Lee. It's a nice Bradbury, sort of cricket. He's a great man too. He's a Steve Bradbury. Make no mistake, great human being. You should speak to him if you get a chance at some point. I had a long chat with him on a plane one day, and he's hardwired right. Steve Bradbury, good human. Enjoy the cricket summer. I know you're a cricket nut as well, Jason, and it's nice that we've got that through line with yourself and others at Maurice Blackburn who love the game, and that's why in many reasons, why this partnership's worked so well, that we've got mutual interest in what we do and the stories that we tell. And I can't tell you enough how proud we are to work with Maurice Blackburn. It means a great deal that you trust us with your stories, and that we were able to come on today and do it in some more depth.
And back the other way too. Like we enjoy the partnership. I'm currently coaching the under-9s cricket team in
What's
my
your club?
area. So it's the Hurstbridge Eltham College. Sorry, not Hurstbridge. Research Eltham College Cricket Club.
Nice.
I'm a new member. I used to play for a different club. I used to play for the Reds.
Yep.
I think you're playing against.
Right. Yeah, we've got the Reds game. We're playing the Reds. I'll get the date wrong if I say it out loud. The Sunday, it has to be Sunday, the 14th of December, I reckon, therefore,
right on.
Where we'll play the Reds. We're playing them at Brunswick Street Oval, actually. So it's a nice,
nice.
Not that we didn't have a great ground last year, but to play on a VFL ground, former VFL ground will be a real privilege.
Yeah,
but
that's lovely.
So you're a Reds member now doing the junior.
There.
It's very relatable. I started my junior coaching journey this year with my 5-year-old Winnie, and I'm going to do my ECB level 2 accreditation when I get back from the Ashes. And I know there'll be a good 10 or 15 years of me ahead doing that. It's a nice part of the cricket journey, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. I thought I was cricket mad before, right? And now so my team, like the 5 of them are in the top 8 of the champion data for the comp, which is a source of great pride. I'm obviously taking credit for all of that.
Naturally,
it's not their natural talent; it's the exceptional coaching they're receiving, including my little one who's number 1 on the list, which is nice.
Giddy up.
He's pinching a lot of fielding stats. He's I think he's got 6 stumpings or something because kids just wander off out of.
It all counts.
But it's wild how infectious their energy for the game is and how it reminds you that it is ultimately play. It's a game first. And I think you can lose that as you get older and you get more competitive and the ducks hurt more and the long days staying in the field are kind of less enjoyable. But getting back into the energy of true play has been really good fun with those young fellas.
Beautiful. That's the spirit, hopefully, that this show is recorded in as well. Love for the game at its heart. And we can't do it. Again, a reminder of, we talk about this a lot, but we can't do it without the support of people who get behind us on Patreon, and nor can we do it without the people who back us in behind the scenes like Maurice Blackburn. And Jason, you're a big part of that story. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for what Maurice Blackburn does. More power to you. And thanks for being on The Final Word today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.